You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
It's 8 o'clock. Breakfast is being served at Ellen's downtown.
I'm Carla Leal, and this is your Spectrum News in 90. An Eastland County Sheriff's deputy has been killed in the line of duty. It happened late Friday night as deputies responded to a domestic violence call east of Abilene. According to was killed by gunfire. A suspect has been arrested and charged with capital murder. A 13-year-old girl who investigators say was kidnapped in San Antonio earlier this month has been rescued in Southern California thanks to a passerby who saw her hold up a "Help Me" sign in a parked car. A man from Clearborn near Fort Worth was arrested on kidnapping charges. Academy Award-winning artist Jamie Foxx says he is recovering from an undisclosed medical condition. He shared on social media he was hospitalized in April. Foxx is from Terrell, just east of.
For your Sunday, we are barely hanging on to the 90s, but we'll do it most importantly. Most of the day, northerly flow, then back with the southern breeze into your Monday. 103 both Monday and Tuesday, and then high pressure is back, but temperatures are somewhat kind. I'll give you the detail.
Hello, thank you for joining us on Spectrum News 1. I'm Todd Boatwright. It is another hot weekend here in Texas, and several cities are working to keep folks safe. In the Rio Grande Valley, officials have opened several cooling centers and shelters, but as Adolfo Muniz shows us, people aren't really using them despite rising temperatures.
Not a lot of people in McAllen are going to the cooling centers. Authorities are worried that because people here feel used to the heat, they're not heeding the excessive heat warning. Even with the temperatures as hot as they are in the Rio Grande Valley, many McAllen residents like Edna keep on doing the things they normally do. Outdoors.
Y estamos aquí pues entreteniendo a los niños fuera de casa. Está caliente, se entretengan.
But it's still dangerously hot, and not a single cloud in the sky to give respite. Even with the excessive heat warning that's been active for weeks, others like Maria simply defy it.
I'm used to the running and being in the heat, I guess, so I don't even feel it. I don't sweat until I'm done running.
But to the rest of us, this heat is a real struggle. As a response to the temperatures, the city has made available several facilities as cooling centers like this one. But what we saw is that very few people are actually using it to come and cool off. For the chief of the fire department, the fact that many residents are not heeding the warning has made it a very active summer.
Well, luckily, we haven't had any critical incidents, here in the recent past. But nevertheless, we can see the trends increasing during this specific condition.
Promoting during the summer, anyone can come in without a membership, and the director is confident that the program is giving results.
This unprecedented heat dome has been a great motivator for people to come in, to sit here in the cool and read together. So it's promoting literacy.
The director says that on Sunday it was full, but on a regular day it's really not. And many people just prefer to tolerate it because feeling used to the heat may create a false sense of security, says the fire department chief. But Edna knows that the time you can be outside is really limited. She was outside only for 15 minutes.
And meanwhile, 150 Texas counties are now primary natural disaster areas due to drought conditions. That's according to the USDA. Many of them are in central Texas, and according to drought.gov, more than 11 with severe drought conditions. Farmers affected by the lack of rain can apply for emergency loans through the Farm Service Agency. And as this summer heat wave continues, our eyes are still glued to the state power grid, hoping it'll hold up. But out in El Paso, folks are confident their power will stay on. Luis Garcia shows us why.
Albert Montano proudly shows off a diesel generator. It is part of the El Paso Electric's Black Start system, capable of supply power to the station in case of a grid power loss.
If the grid goes down, we can start the grid from here and get power to our biggest power plants and make sure that we can start building the grid from those big power plants. So that's an opportunity for us to share lessons learned.
By lessons learned, here in 2011, when 110,000 homes like Chuck the Brothers went without power for days.
That year, there were some houses and homes in East El Paso, Northeast, even into southern New Mexico, where El Paso Electric services, that didn't have power for almost a couple days.
After that winter storm, El Paso leaders got to work. Now, power stations here can withstand temperatures as low as -10 degrees.
Insulation remains on the pipe throughout the whole year. Likewise, that's our water-to-air heat exchanger. And for the same reasons as insulated, we want to make sure that the cooling capabilities remain even when it's hot. So we're essentially doing the opposite of what we're trying to do or accomplish during the winter.
The county of El Paso is not part of the Texas Interconnection Independent Power Grid, which covers 213 of the 254 Texas counties. Because of its location, 70s to connect to the Western grid, a grid that fits several states and has its own backup system in case one area lacks energy.
And the Western grid has a mechanism called the Energy Imbalance Market. So we actually can purchase renewable power from California that during the day there seems to be a lot more of, and use it here in town.
Even then, after the freeze of 2011, El Paso Electric chose to protect its own plants.
We have a seasonal readiness plan, so it's actually a plan for the winter and for the summer, and they go on year-round and they overlap. So in the winter, we implement provisions to make sure that the equipment doesn't freeze, and in preparation for the summer, we do the opposite.
Since then, El Paso Electric has invested $4.5 million in weatherization and renewable energy, where plants are already in place to buy more storage for solar energy. El Paso Electric residents have learned to prepare for the worst.
We're prepared, and then with El Paso Electric, we're pretty confident that they'll be able to keep the power on, especially since they did the last time.
And coming up, hitting the pool is a good way to cool off in this Texas heat, but it's also important to stay safe. We'll show you what one city's doing to help when we come back.
Hey everybody, I'm Carla Leal. Proper health care can help prevent diseases and improve quality of life. Unfortunately, here in Texas, not everyone has the same access to it. On this week's In Focus Texas, we'll hear from legislators and health advocates taking steps to improve health care access for all Texans. See you then.
Stay connected to Spectrum News 1 with the Spectrum News app. Stream your trusted team live on the go or from home. And stay updated on the local news and weather forecasts that matter to you. Spectrum News, your community connection. Weather can be beautiful and at times powerful. Our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News 1.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Texas holds a very special place in both my heart and my family's heart as well. My dad started in the news business in 1955, so my dad was my idol. He was my mentor. I spent so much time in that world. I knew his purpose has been about informing, educating, and most importantly, connecting with people. It has been my passion to help people and make a difference in people's lives. I'm Brett Shipp, anchor, Spectrum News 1.
A review of outside and your 360 view of Dallas. Awesome conditions, drier air pulling in. Let's go ahead and give a review of those temperatures. So far we've seen at least 15 days above 100 and 4 of those over 105. And as we go ahead and look into the distance, we have about a month and single-digit temperatures. So just to kind of give us something to cling to. It's not forever away. Here's a look and another review of outside conditions as we look at our Texas Motor Speedway over our weather stem camera. So nice. We do have brisk air just behind, northerly flow, and most importantly, dew points are down, so it feels much better. You can see as we trend throughout the day, we'll see clear conditions, and then those highs still barely clinging to the upper 90s. And here's a look across the area, much warmer down towards the south, and dew points are not enough to really get that support of any precipitation. You can see the winds first a little calm and then back out of the south by the end of the day. So we need the rain. It's been a minute for sure. You can see that we are below average, over an inch. So we are starting to see some severe orange. We need the rain. Hopefully wanting to get this high pressure out of here so we improve that situation. So definitely looking forward to El Nino in fall and those fronts. We want to recover for sure. Here's a look into the week. You can see 103 to begin and then down to about 100 by the time we make it to Friday.
State health officials are keeping an eye on a major outbreak of syphilis in Houston after a 57% increase in cases over the past 3 years. Here's Dylan Scott with more.
When you think of health-related outbreaks, syphilis is not a term that you often hear. However, here in Houston, the city is seeing a tremendous spike in the STI, and medical professionals across the board are warning all Texans to be aware.
Have them come back.
On tour. Medical director at Lifesavers Emergency Room has seen the syphilis spike in Houston firsthand.
Circular rash, so it's called a chancre.
One in the last 3 years that has jumped 57% to nearly 3,000 cases.
I think that's what the scary part of this is, that you're seeing more positives, you're seeing more patients that are looking for testing, and more of their results are coming out positive.
The sexually transmitted infection isn't new to the medical field, and despite a number of painful symptoms, it is very treatable.
Definitely stocking more on antibiotics. It can be treated with just an IM shot, or it can be treated with an oral course of therapy. A lot of patients don't want a shot, and some patients would prefer to take the oral route. So it's easily treatable. It's a bacterial infection.
However, there is still reason for concern. Women have seen a 128% jump in cases over the span, and the result for expecting mothers can have dire consequences.
We're also seeing it where it's becoming congenital, where babies with syphilis, and this is obviously deadly for the babies. The babies are born stillborn or may be born with significant neurological deficits.
While spikes aren't all that uncommon, experts say this increase could be attributed to more widely available testing.
Increase at some points, and the important deal is to, again, educate, test, treat, have your partners tested and treated as well.
Lupita Thornton, public health manager of the Houston Health Department, says the city is being proactive to combat the spread including increasing education and mobile testing clinics.
We will get these numbers down. It'll take, several months to do so, but we're shooting in that direction.
As for other large cities such as Austin, Dallas, and San Antonio, Thornton says this outbreak should serve as a cautionary tale.
Very important that everyone start to look at their data, provide treatment, provide testing for their community, and start just looking a little harder.
A wise lesson, especially for those at the front of this infectious disease fight.
Knowledge is power. The more we know about any situation, any epidemic that's going on, the more we can be prepared.
With summer here, a lot of people are taking a dip in the pool to stay cool, but that can also lead to a rise in drownings. That's why Fort Worth is launching a program to keep people safe in the water. Emily Pounds has more.
People on the bus go up and down. Drowning, unfortunately, is not biased to any socioeconomic, nor race or age.
Meet Laura Campos, a former teacher now turned swim instructor, using her passion for teaching to ensure the safety of children and adults in the water. The YMCA's free swim lessons is providing access to families who otherwise might not have the opportunity. Taking on the initiative, they dive in, bringing the lessons directly to the community.
The Dallas-Fort Worth area is one of the top 3 in apartment drownings in the United States, mainly because the apartments have no lifeguards.
One of the families enrolled in the YMCA's swim session is the Wallaces.
This is my son, Elijah Christopher.
They reside at Sanson Bluff, one of the 40 local apartment complexes hosting these classes.
The water is everywhere. Very, very grateful.
In the U.S., drowning is the second leading cause of unintentional death in children aged 1 to 14 years. Because of this, the Wallaces decided to take action and join the class.
If they know what to do with the lessons that the Y is performing, then they'll know and they won't drown. They know how to save themselves.
As the impact of these lessons goes beyond the poolside.
Essentially, it may save their life someday.
And instills a sense of self-assurance and respect for the water.
It's really rewarding to see that type thing.
And up next, meet a woman with bragging rights as big as Texas. I sat down with Miss Mercy as she celebrated a huge birthday. Stick around.
We actually have a dying boundary across the state that could bring about a 20% chance of rain into south central Texas into the second half of the day. So we'll cross our fingers for that. Otherwise, the temperatures are relatively kind. We have drier air to the north, still looking at the 90s there, but many triple digits as we go ahead and look at the feels like temperatures. They are getting hot once again this week.
$16 teams, 15 grand. One tournament to decide who knows the most about separating news fact from news fiction. 1, 2, 3, that is correct, Jacob. The Spectrum News Challenge Tournament.
That sounds really awesome, man.
If you think you know the news, then it's time to take the challenge. Spectrum News Challenge, Wednesday nights at 8:30. Available on all your favorite devices.
When you buy Spectrum Mobile for just $29.99 a month, you get a second line for free. So get one line for yourself and a free line for your devoted friend. Friend. Or you can get one line for yourself and one line for your kid.
Sold.
Or both lines for yourself. I use one for business and another for business. I do $29.99 and get a second line free for 12 months. Call, click, or visit a Spectrum store today.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
We have one mission, and that is to serve our community.
Our goal with Spectrum News 1 is to tell people's stories. We're telling a person's story in a way that's relatable to who they are.
It's my responsibility to know the issues here in Texas, but also, more importantly, to know who it affects.
We want to make sure that you know our local community. Your evening on Spectrum News 1, weeknights starting at 5 p.m. Central.
Well, some good news for American Airlines this weekend. The Fort Worth-based company says it earned a record-breaking $14.1 billion in revenue over the last year. Within the second quarter, are to thank for the boost. But flight attendants with American aren't so happy and could soon go on strike. Their union is scheduled to hold a vote soon. For years now, flight attendants have been asking for a raise and better scheduling. If a strike does happen, more than 26,000 American Airlines flight attendants could hit the picket lines. Well, during the last couple of decades, the number of women involved in aviation has steadily gone up, but they still only make up about 6% of all pilots across the country. Now, Texas University is hoping to fix that. Our Nicolette Perdomo shows us.
You have to fly this track.
Lindsay Davis is a first officer airline pilot who's also the president of Women in Aviation North Texas chapter.
Now, more than when I started, or even before that, there are a lot more women joining to become a pilot. The resources are better.
She's always encouraging others to get into the career. Davis explains that in the cockpit than becoming a pilot.
It's not just pilots that are experiencing a shortage and trying to fill that gap with females. It's also ATC. ATC is having a shortage, right? Because one person can only handle so many planes at a time. And then mechanics. Airplane mechanics have a shortage as well.
Next fall in 2024, Texas Women's University in Denton will launch an aviation school aimed at addressing an industry-wide pilot shortage and giving access to an underrepresented group, women.
The pathway we plan for them is to be, first of all, trained in flight, but second of all, becoming flight instructors early on that will then provide a pathway into the programs and into flying for the commercial airlines.
According to the FAA, fewer than 10% of licensed pilots are women, and the percentage of women in maintenance fits. It's something Graves says women can help fill the void.
Well, we are very much aware of the demand for pilots. For example, Boeing expects there to be a need of over 600,000 pilots within the next 20 years.
Davis says her path wasn't easy. It's costly and takes a lot of time and effort. But she's navigating a route to help young women get better opportunities in the future.
When I looked into pursuing aviation, there was even less information on a woman in the flight tech. You know, what do you do when you have kids? What do you do if you want to breastfeed? You know, all those questions were popping up when I was looking to pursue aviation.
We know everything is bigger and better in Texas, but our bragging rights don't have to stop there. One woman in Texas just had a big birthday, and she's not slowing down yet.
Happy birthday to you.
It's a celebration of a life well lived. Mercy Miller just turned 105 years old.
We love you.
She lives at this assisted living center in San Marcos, Texas. She was born about an hour and a half away near Belton.
So I was born out in the country.
1918.
1918.
Fast forward a few years, Mercy enrolled at Texas State University. It was around 1940 her future husband wanted to get married, and not a moment too soon. Mercy's mom wouldn't have it.
Wanted to get married before I got my degree. But I said, no, no, no. Not until she gets a degree. So I got it.
She did get married and eventually had 2 sons. Her mother was big on getting an education. Mercy was too. She became a teacher in Texas.
Teaching wasn't hard. The kiddos were different in a way.
How's that?
We didn't have any discipline problems.
Mercy credits her family roots for living a long life. She's not one to hand out advice to the rest of us, but she does rely on the Bible to get by.
It's a good book to have when you need it. A cry of anguish.
You could say faith and family helped define Mercy's life. She grew up an only child and enjoys doing things by herself. Mercy even takes her birthday in stride. After all, 105 is just another number. What's your secret to a long life?
Yeah.
You're doing something right.
I don't have it. Life is what you make them. Some come out smelling like a rose.
And still ahead, technology is an important part of everyday life, and now that includes artificial intelligence. We'll take a look at how it could shape our future coming up.
A thriving community is an informed community, and being able to play a role in bringing people the news is something that I take very seriously. There's just so many things to love about the state of Texas. Southern hospitality, great food. I love that there are so many different cultures celebrated. I want people to turn us on in the morning and feel like they've got the information they need to go out and conquer their day. I'm Alex Stockwell, anchor for Spectrum News 1.
With Spectrum Mobile, your mobile speeds are already amazingly fast, but now they've developed Speed Boost. And it's only possible because Spectrum Internet, Advanced Wi-Fi, and mobile all work together. It's like speed on top of speed on top of speed, or like taking a shot of espresso, like this one. Woo! Then chugging an energy drink. Yeah! And then being shot out of a cannon. Let's light this candle. Change my mind.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are connected, engaged, from the moment we rise. We move. We adjust. We learn, explore, relax, and grow together so we're ready to build a better tomorrow. Stay informed throughout your day with the Spectrum News app, exclusively for...
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes. Also available on the Spectrum News app.
Hello, Dallas-Fort Worth. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. A Women's World Cup soccer watch party got underway Friday. Fans gathered at the Star in Frisco to see Team USA take on Vietnam. USA won 3-0. Congressman Joaquin Castro and members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus are launching a nationwide call for Latino-driven films to nominate to the National Film Registry. To be eligible, films must be at least 10 10 years old. Some already in the registry include Selena, La Bamba, and West Side Story. Houston has ranked the second noisiest city and followed by New York. Houston is the loudest city when it comes to noise created by car accidents and traffic congestion. Austin and Arlington made the top 20 in this list.
It's going to be a great start to the day. We are keeping the mid-70s, so if you can, make it outside to enjoy that and then rush back inside. By the second half of the day, we will be into the 90s with lots of sunshine. Into the week, we'll see high pressure strengthen. I'll tell you how high it will go coming up.
Hi, welcome back. According to a new report from Forbes, Texans are making less money when compared to other large states across the country like California. Researchers found Texans make just above $57,000 a year on average, which is the in the country. In California, residents make an average of $73,000 a year. Because of those lower wages, more Texans have to rely on credit cards to make ends meet. Amber Hughes explains how this growing reliance can be a slippery slope.
As a provider, I really wanted to be able to support my family.
Walker Dunn and his wife have 2 kids. He says they made some financial missteps buying a fixer-upper home before relocating to San Antonio.
We ended up having to max out pretty much all of our credit cards, take out personal loans through banks. It was just a nightmare.
The Dunns fell into a hole, struggling to pay their mortgage.
With the interest payments alone on the credit card starts doubling more than what you actually owe on the credit cards. At that point, it's just kind of, where do you go?
Studies show Texas has the 12th highest rate of increased credit card reliance due to inflation. 36% of Texans are relying on credit cards to meet their spending needs, and 95% of adults are stressed about recent price increases.
The categories that increase the most is housing, groceries, transportation. You can't really do a lot about that. Those are necessities.
Vernita Gonzalez has worked for Money Management International over 30 years as a counselor. She says inflation is having the biggest impact on young adults under 25.
121% of the calls that we received were in that age group. They're stressed about finances because there's not enough money to fall back on.
Inflation rose from 2.3% in 2020 to 7% the next year. Vernita suggests people reach out for help before they get 3 months behind on bills, messing up their credit.
What are you spending? Where is it going?
His credit score is back up after paying off about $90,000 in debt.
It's always in the back of my mind with getting back in debt. Today with the inflation, I could see how more and more people are struggling to get by, and there is hope.
And according to Wallet Hub, Texans in Fort Worth have the most credit card debt in the state, with residents there owing about $14,000 on average. Well, meanwhile, in the coming months, 44,000 Texans could lose their food stamps. That's according to the Texas Tribune. Starting this September, SNAP recipients under 51 will have to work at least 80 hours a month to receive food stamps. That's in accordance with new federal limits. It is the hottest topic in the tech world right now. Love it or hate it, we're talking about artificial intelligence. Which picks up here in Texas. Dylan Scott shows what's next for this ever-evolving technology.
At offices like this across the state, artificial intelligence is growing at an incredible rate. So what exactly does that mean for the workforce here in Texas and all us humans?
I've never seen anything moving this fast in my life.
Austinite Ron Green has lived in the artificial intelligence world since the 90s, but says the last 5 years have brought this emerging technology to life in various forms like self-driving cars, pose estimation, which predicts human body parts and joints in images or videos.
This is a technique that was completely beyond our abilities until recently.
And the widely popular ChatGPT.
The dream that we would have these systems that could perform at a human level or a superhuman level is finally a reality.
Alongside a talented team of around 40, like principal machine learning The co-founder and CTO of Kung Fu AI is helping other companies implement these growing game changers.
This is where we're all most excited, is performing at a superhuman level, doing things that are vastly beyond, individual human capabilities.
According to several state employment agencies, nearly 5,000 Texans have been laid off in 2023. So how does AI factor into the conversation?
Everything we do in AI is still done with traditional software.
If anything, Green and Damani say it's a major boost, with a need for humans to work alongside this technology.
60% of the jobs today didn't even exist in like 1940. So you kind of go through like this shift in technology every couple of years that actually creates a lot of new jobs.
It's this new generation of AI that has people concerned about where this takes us in the future.
And Daniel is monitoring these trends closely and believes, at least at the moment, AI will change jobs more so than eliminating them.
Think about how that might replace a job. We think about what skills the humans that might possibly get replaced, how they can bring those to a kind of a higher and better use. Might take a little bit of training, might mean a little more money.
And at the moment, teams like Kung Fu AI say they're just scratching the surface of this uncharted machine learning frontier.
If you're an expert as of a year ago, you're no longer an expert.
And still to come, while much of the state's dealing with the drought, one North Texas couple came prepared. We'll show you how after the break. Plus, as schools get ready to resume, some Texas teachers are finding new ways to help their students learn. We'll tell you how ahead on Spectrum News 1.
Hey everybody, I'm Carla Leal. Proper health care can help prevent diseases and improve quality of life. Unfortunately, here in Texas, not everyone has the same access to it. On this week's In Focus Texas, we'll hear from legislators and health advocates taking steps to improve health care access for all Texans. You don't want to miss it, so join us or set your DVR for all the details. I'll see you then.
I am most satisfied when I'm making a difference with fellow Texans who understand that quality of life matters and the choices we make matter. And if they can trust me to share important information with them, then I'm a happy camper.
I'm Dr. Nicole Cross, anchor for Spectrum News 1.
From coast to coast, you've seen us around. We live and work in the communities we serve. Our commitment runs deep. We're invested here, creating good jobs and supporting small businesses, many of which we're proud to call customers. You count on us to keep you connected to what matters most. And we're committed to delivering you the best internet, TV, and mobile service. We're Spectrum, connecting the places we all call home.
When I first saw Turtle, my heart...
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure
love.
Weather can be beautiful, inconvenient, and at times powerful. And it affects everything we do. At Spectrum News 1, our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. We're the calm in the storm, Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News 1. And get your weather anytime on the Spectrum News app.
was a review of outside and your 360 view of Dallas. Awesome conditions, drier air pulling in. Let's go ahead and give a review of those temperatures. So far, we've seen at least 15 days above 100 and 4 of those over 105. And as we go ahead and look into the distance, we have about a month and some change on average of seeing more of those triple-digit temperatures. So just to kind of give us something to cling to, it's not forever away. Here's a look and another review of outside conditions as we look at our Texas Motor Speedway over our weather stem camera. So nice. We do have brisk air just behind, northerly flow, and most importantly, dew points are down, so it feels much better. You can see throughout the day, we'll see clear conditions, and then those highs still barely clinging to the upper 90s. And here's a look across the area, much warmer down towards the south, and dew points are not enough to really get that support of any precipitation. You can see the winds first a little calm and then back out of the south by the end of the day. So we need the rain. It's been a minute for sure. You can see that we are below average, over an inch. So we are starting to see some severe drought conditions. Everything that is into the orange, we need the rain. Hopefully wanting to get this high pressure out of here so we improve that situation. So definitely looking forward to El Nino in fall and those fronts. We want to recover for sure. Here's a look into the week. You can see 103 to begin and then down to about 100 by the time we make it to Friday.
As the scorching heat continues, one North Texas family has found a cool way to keep their lawn green and their water bills lean. Our Emily Pounds shows us.
We like the rainwater because we believe it's a gift from heaven.
Nestled in the community of Haltom City, an otherwise average home exterior. However, it's what lies beyond the fence that sets this household apart.
Now we have a full system in our backyard, so we're going to show it to you.
Meet John and Doris Thornton, a resourceful couple who changed the way they garden. With the heat not giving Texans a break, 2 years ago they took matters into their own hands, implementing a rainwater harvesting system.
This is the main barrel that's connected to the gutter and to the downspout.
These 11 barrels store and filter the collected rainwater, ensuring its cleanliness and usability, then piped directly into a hose used to water their lush property.
So I can do this and irrigate everything.
More than in drought-stricken areas, more Texans could fall back into drought classification as July appears to end on a dry note. But the Thorntons don't feel threatened by the heat and lack of enough recent rainfall to support city systems because of their reservoirs.
This has dramatically decreased our dependence on the city water.
Water bills have plummeted, providing them with a constant supply of water even in the face of adversity across the state.
There was a time back in April and May that we were like 95% capacity. The barrels would just fill up and we're saying, there's no way we can catch everything.
Their efforts have not only brought relief to their home during Texas heat waves, but in 2021, they also caught the attention of the Texas Water Development Board, winning the Texas Raincatcher Award for 2021, a rainwater harvesting competition and recognition program. Shay Luther, a water harvesting plays a vital role in alleviating Texas's water usage.
You have it as a resource during the hot, dry summer. So even if you're in a drought or go into drought restrictions, you still have this water source. It helps the cities not have to pump as much surface water or groundwater.
As the high temps persist and demand for water remains high, some advice from the North Texas couple who got recognized for harvesting the rain when we had it.
It's going to be very useful when the Texas sun gets really hot in the summertime and the drought comes. So you'll be happy that you did.
Well, meanwhile, in New Braunfels, folks are excited for Lake Dunlap to return to full capacity nearly 2 years after a dam broke and emptied the lake. Our Lauren Kendrick has the latest on that.
There's a lot of excitement right now
Frank Baker couldn't be happier about the news.
because July the 31st, GBRA which will be holding back the water.
Holding back the water to fill Lake Dunlap.
And they're expecting it to fill up in about 3 to 4 weeks at the current flow from the Guadalupe and the Comtel rivers.
Frank Baker lives along Lake Dunlap and happens to be a listing waterfront specialist. He's excited that this once beautiful lake will be restored.
Some of the lake is actually within the city limits of New Braunfels, some is in the county.
Currently, you can see the lake isn't much of a lake.
This is probably going to come up about 10 feet right here. So we're about 10 feet down. It's about 12 feet at the dam. If the river's narrow, it didn't drop as much in certain areas.
In 2019, one of the gates of the Lake Dunlap Dam failed. The lake drained.
These dams are about 90 years old. They were all built in the 1930s.
No one expected it.
And it kind of surprised everybody. It shocked everyone when the dam collapsed. There was no plan to rebuild the dam. There was nothing in the works.
People here got together and formed a water control improvement district, rebuild the dam. After more than 2 years,
they've informed us that the gates are in place, the pistons are in place, and so at the end of the month they will be raising the gate and holding back the water.
Frank says for a long time people neglected waterfronts, letting trees and grass grow over. Even his real estate business suffered.
We had almost 20 contracts on homes on this lake, and almost all of them backed out because they didn't want to purchase the property at that point because there was a lot of uncertainty.
Now repairs have begun.
There's a lot of excitement going on,
which is also great news for the real estate business.
The activity is hot. When I get a listing on Lake Dunlap, it sells fairly quickly now.
Excited to have the lake back.
For Labor Day, hopefully we'll have a full lake, and hopefully it'll be a big party out here.
And up next, we have some guests in the studio to talk about the great work they're doing here in Texas to help foster kids.
We actually have a dying boundary across the state that could bring about a 20% chance of rain into south central Texas into the second half of the day. So we'll cross our fingers for that. Otherwise, the temperatures are relatively kind. We have drier air to the north, still looking at the 90s there, but many triple digits as we go ahead and look at the feels like temperatures. They are getting hot once again this week.
The strength of Texas is in its many voices and unique perspectives. Every Sunday, join host Carla Leal on In Focus Texas. Education, economy, immigration, and more. Balanced and respectful discussion of the serious matter.
Closer look at the issues in your community.
In Focus Texas, Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Spectrum News 1. Available on all your favorite devices.
So you're telling me this one-size-fits-all network upgrade is the best you guys can do?
Better than that. It's the only thing we do.
That's how we know it's right for you.
Aye.
Is that what I said?
No, I think you were okay. I think that's a yes.
We get it. Ask for the technology you need, and they call you unreasonable. We call you something else, our kind of client. So go ahead, be unreasonable.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. I'll be by your side.
Little everyday conversations about the dangers of underage drinking can make a big difference in a child's life.
Today at Zilker Park, where folks from across the state of Texas are coming together for this.
At Spectrum News, we're committed to our communities around the clock, delivering stories that inspire and news that matters in your community. Our journalists are dedicated to bringing you trusted, balanced local news every day. And now, Spectrum Internet-only customers, you can watch Spectrum News 1 on your TV, connecting you to your community 24/7. Spectrum News, now streaming exclusively for Spectrum customers.
Now, welcome back. As we get close to another school year, a teacher in Austin is getting his students excited about learning through chess. Dylan Scott shows us.
Where do your warriors belong? Should they be at camp or in the battlefield?
Gabe Reed grew up around the game of chess. Here, you can say it's become a huge piece of his life.
It was always a love where I could always connect with people and just, talk some strategy.
The longtime educator and founder of Joyous Tutoring has turned his passion into an end game.
Good job jumping with the knight.
That is now a free teaching tool at Austin's Carver Museum and Cultural Center.
Chess strengthens metacognitive skills, and that's just a fancy academic. Some of the same skills that you use in chess can also be applied in reading.
It's a gambit he believes will pay off in the classroom.
1, 2, boom. Very good. According to the Texas Education Agency, there's a huge racial reading achievement gap here in Austin, right? Black students are reading proficiently on grade level at about 36% compared to their white counterparts at 82%, right? So chess is just a hook, but ultimately we want to close this racial reading achievement gap.
Local high school student Kyra Newton attends the sessions and is enjoying the refreshing change of pace.
It really challenges different parts of my brain because instead of focusing on just looking at one thing, I have to look at the overall picture.
Or this
Take
pawn.
my piece. Good game.
Now the sophomore hopes to bring that same joy to her classmates at Weiss High School.
My current school, I looked online, they didn't have a chess club, but it's made in the fall. I want to start my own chess club.
A chance to check in and make a difference for the future kings and queens of this community.
Just like with anything, it takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of hard work, nothing's easy, but we got a lot of great people to keep you engaged along the journey.
Well, foster kids in Texas may feel alone or may not know really what to think or do in that particular situation. Well, that's where Texas CASA comes in. CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. They help kids in the foster care system. And here with us today is Fabrizio Ricalde. Did I say that correctly?
Perfect.
I got it. Fabrizio Ricalde with CASA of Travis County, one of the 73 chapters across Texas. And back with us, Greg Burrow with Heroes of Texas. They work with CASA. We're going to find out more about you guys in just a second. I want to thank you for being here. So first, tell us a little bit about Texas CASA. What do you guys do?
Yeah, we're actually CASA of Travis County. So we work within the realm of what we do is we recruit, we train, and we manage volunteers. There are individuals that have a big heart because they want to help kids in the child welfare system. They are being trained and prepared to be advocates in court for them after a judge has declared that they received some abuse or neglect. So we train them, we manage them, we help them, we supervise them, the volunteers, to be able to be great quality volunteers for those children.
And the volunteers are in the courtroom with the child, correct?
Yes.
And what do they actually do?
They recommend to the judge what's in the best interest of those children for them to thrive, for them to have a better future, for them to be able to be placed on a safe home, for them to return with their families if that's what it's in their best interest. So they advocate for the children's best interests in front of the judge.
So much for being back with us. Tell us a bit about your friends here first.
We have Aquaman and Storm with us. And
you guys work with CASA. Tell us about that.
We do a lot of different charities, and we go to children's hospitals like we said before, but one of our big charities that we work with is CASA, especially the CASA Superhero Run, which is coming up on September 17th. It is a festival as well as a 5K and a children's fun run. And it is absolutely amazing, and I highly suggest everybody to sign up. You can sign up at CASASuperheroRun.com. And it's really, really awesome. And we'll be there for people to take pictures with us. And usually we're there with Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy, giving away free comics.
Oh, nice.
And little hand fans, because it can get a little hot out there.
It's a little hot, yeah. Even in September.
And so, but yeah, we have a lot of fun out there. And there's so many different businesses in the local area that come out. Amy's Ice Cream is always out there giving away free ice cream. You name it. It's really amazing. So.
Right. How do, if somebody wants to volunteer, what do they need to do real quick?
They just need to enter to casatravis.org. Okay. There's a button there that says volunteer. They can either request for, for more information. They can put their information there and we'll contact them back. If they are inside of the process of being trained to be a volunteer, they will receive training for a couple of weeks, which is really a complete training, but it's also a really opportunity for them to learn more about the system and learn more about what we do.
That's great.
And be prepared to be the best quality advocates. So they just need to access casatravis.org/volunteer or just casatravis.org.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us, and thank you for being with us as well. Stay safe, especially in this heat. We will see you again soon.
The decisions elected officials make really have an impact on all of us. A big part of what we do on Capitol Tonight is break down the issues so that they're easily understood. We want to bring you a better understanding of local issues and the local impact of national issues with relevant, in-depth conversations that provide context for Texans in a balanced and informative way. Capitol Tonight, weeknights at 7 on Spectrum News 1.
They say the best things in life are free.
That's why Spectrum Mobile is giving you one free mobile line when you buy one unlimited line for $29.99.
Hey, so I can get 2 lines for the price of one? That's right, for just $29.99.
Switch to Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $29.99 a month and get a second unlimited line free for 12 months with no contracts. Call 1-844-537-2999. Visit spectrum.com/getconnected or Spectrum store today.
It's the best deal in mobile.
Free mobile sounds good, but is the service reliable?
Absolutely. Spectrum Mobile is super reliable, coast to coast.
Okay, but what's the catch?
Is it contracts?
No contracts, no catch.
Get one line for $29.99 and the second line is free.
All with no taxes or hidden fees.
Whew. Man, I'm switching to Spectrum. You said?
Switch to Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $29.99 a month and get a second unlimited line free for 12 months. Call 1-844-537-2999.
Get in the bedroom.
The family's visit to the